And here with us now, U.S. Army combat veteran Ricoh Danielson. Thank you so much for being here. All right. I think we've got your signal good. We just heard from Hegseth about the importance of allied cooperation. It's an important matter to discuss. What do you think are some of the biggest lessons from D-Day that we can carry over into what's unfolding right now?
Some of the biggest lessons you can take away from D-Day is it takes a joint effort to take on a bigger juggernaut. Specifically, back then it was Germany, Russia, and whatnot. So one of the big things you have to take away is that we, as a global country, as a global community, have to come together. And unfortunately, this is going to be a conflict that's going to be steered into Iran, and that means everyone has to take a step forward. France, Spain, Portugal, and whatnot are going to have to send troops and also send ammunition, also support.
You know, the latest escalation in the Gulf comes as Iran warned this week that the Strait remains its strongest source of leverage. And it's an important one, obviously. You know, how strong of a bargaining chip is the Strait for Iran in these talks moving forward? Because, you know, with all the action that happened overnight, it just feels like things are ever changing.
Yeah, this is going to cause a tactical pause here, right? So Iran believes that this still has strategic initiative and also strategic control over the Strait of Hormuz. And the problem with that is inflicting global inflation across all kinds of markets. When they launched these drones over the last 24 hours, the United States responded accordingly. And they said they don't need permission to do strikes. They're just going to carry out what they need to in the benefit and the best interest of the world.
Trump has said just this week that a ceasefire in this region does not necessarily mean a complete end to the fighting. Let's take a listen to what he said.
How do you define ceasefire?
Pretty much the way it is. It's a different part of the world. You know, I'd say in that part of the world, ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner. A ceasefire there is much different than a ceasefire in other parts of the world.
You see it the same way? Because CENTCOM says it also struck an Iranian military facility in the Strait after missile launches towards Kuwait and Bahrain. That's another big development here. But Iran's missiles either failed or they were intercepted. So, you know, as we take a look from the outside in, what does that tell us about Iran's military capabilities? Because we're talking about after months of war.
Yeah, one thing is the definition of ceasefire. What does that truly mean? That means they can still engage in local conflict, regional defense whenever they defend themselves. But in a reality situation is their military is still operational function in which it should be. But the problem is going to be is that when the United States responds and it continues to hammer on their ballistic missiles, long-range missiles, and also tactical warfare at the ground level, they're going to deplete themselves. All they have to do is just come to the ceasefire with a good agreement, and then this can all end.
You know, President Trump also says that talks are ongoing despite reports that Iran stopped communicating with mediators, which is a significant development. Let's listen to that.
They were slightly provoked because we took a strong action for a different reason. So they were reciprocating. The negotiation itself has gone very well, actually. Very well.
Listen, we're not going to know how everything's truly going behind the scenes at all times, but how do we know whether diplomacy is truly progressing in your view? I'm just wondering what you might think might be happening behind the scenes.
I think behind closed doors, a lot of, remember, you have multiple world leaders here, Pakistan leaders, the Islamic leadership, and then also the IRGC and whatnot. They're trying to come to the table. And when you have that much big egos trying to get one direction, and then you have the United States and Trump, we're going a different direction, it's going to be very, very hard to reach that agreement. So what's going on behind closed doors? A lot of tensions talks and hopes that we come to an agreement. But what I see in reality is that the United States is more likely going to occupy the region. We're going to get what we want through force.
Yeah, and Iran digging its heels in, maintaining that uranium enrichment is a non-negotiable right in that country's view. And the former defense secretary, Leon Panetta, warned this week that the U.S. could end up stuck in a prolonged conflict without achieving its main objective of ending Iran's nuclear program. Let's take a listen to that.
This war is very much turning into Trump's Vietnam. In Vietnam, we negotiated. But in the end, the North Vietnamese basically took total control. We were lucky to get our forces out. I think we're heading in the same direction with this war.
A lot of people hope that's not true, but do you agree with Panetta, or is there any realistic compromise that both Washington and Tehran could actually accept on the nuclear issue?
Calling this era of Trump's Vietnam War, I think it's a little bit skewed, and here's why. Back then, and I love the soldiers who paved the way for us, and my big heart goes out to them. but there was old technology, not as fast warfare and whatnot. As you see, we're able to enter their airspace very quickly, damage them very quickly within weeks. So I think the dynamics of warfare have changed. So that statement may be a little skewed, and it's not really truly given a true depiction of the great progress that Trump and the United States is actually making.
And we're also watching what's happening with airstrikes and the sanctions that have severely damaged Iran's economy. They've taken a huge hit. Some economists warn that inflation in Iran could actually reach up to 80%. So when we talk about the economic pain that affects the regime's decision-making right now, how much of it is in play right now?
So inflation there, I could definitely see going up to 100% over its additional 100%. I mean, you saw that in Lebanon, like hundreds of dollars just mean nothing, right? So they have to come to the table, not only for the world, but for their own survivability, because if they don't, they will be a third, fourth world country. And then that's when the United States will actually fully take over our country.
We're going to see how it plays out. I'm always so glad to have you on the show. U.S. Army combat veteran Ricoh Danielson, thank you for being here.
Rock and roll.
Thank you. And